Hello my sardines and anchovies, and welcome to a very different video. Today we shall be reviewing Assetto Corsa and we will be grading it in the following criteria: graphics, gameplay, compatibility, mod support, and value. Each will be given a score out of 5, then multiplied to give a score out of 100. There are timestamps in the description for you to skip to whatever part of the review that you want to, so without further ado, let's get into it. Despite being released on Steam in 2014, Assetto Corsa holds up very well. Most of the time the game looks like it was just released yesterday through its use of good lighting and smexy models. Things like a morning sun peeking through the trees or thick fog surrounding your car are portrayed well, creating a great sense of immersion. The tracks in the game are laser scanned, which improves the game's sense of realism and really connects you to the tracks. The cars in the game are also thoroughly modelled and look extremely close to their real life counterparts. As for the game's HUD, when in a race it's fairly clean and effective system, but it can be altered with a large variety of apps in the game if you so desire. The main menu is also quite appealing with a good visual design, and it's quite easy to navigate through the game's many options, game modes, and whatnot. Something interesting to mention is the crash model. When you inevitably get too cocky with a car and slam it into a wall, the model does a good job of making you feel like you've had a horrendous impact. It's not BeamNG level damage, but that's to be expected. It's a racing sim, not a physics sim. That's all I have for graphics, so off we pop to the next topic. There are numerous gameplay modes in Assetto Corsa, but I'll summarise the most notable ones. First is Practice, which is essentially a car you choose on a track you choose with settings that, you guessed it, you choose. Next is Quick Race, which lets you do the exact same thing but in a purely race form against AI cars. And the last is Race Weekend, which comprises of a practice section, a qualifying section, and a proper race section. For those who want a more structured experience, there is a career mode letting drivers rise up the ranks, competing in faster cars and races as they progress. There are others, but they are mostly small variations of the first three, which shall be on screen now. But you'll find that most online servers run either Practice or Race Weekend. Multiplayer racing is a well-polished experience, and even with high ping, racing remains relatively smooth, though I must admit it's less competitive compared to games like ACC and iRacing. This is caused by a combination of both most servers running Nordschleife Touristenfahrten and the easier access to sim racing Assetto Corsa provides, meaning people of a lower skill level join the races and, well, hijinks ensue. As for single player, the game's AI is fairly competent, offering fair competition. Sound design is another factor that adds to Assetto's goodness in gameplay, with almost every car sounding unique, and allegedly this is due to most sounds being real recordings of cars, but I can't confirm if that's true or not, so I'll let you just have a listen. I think you get the picture. There are also a lot of smaller and more detailed sounds, like turbo spooling, windshield wiper noise, and some can feel a bit off, like the tyre squeal noise, but at the end of the day, that's just me nitpicking and the game still sounds great. The last and most important thing I want to discuss in this section is physics, and to summarise, Assetto Corsa does this very well. The game is most certainly a sim racer, especially in comparison to games like Forza or Gran Turismo. Categories feel different from one another, and within said categories cars have nuanced and distinct handling. When paired with a force feedback wheel, more on this soon, the in-game driving model is even more noticeable, as it directly connects you to the game. As for the tyre model, Assetto Corsa has a fairly easy and robust system. Each type of tyre will react in ways roughly similar to their real counterparts, and the game simulates tyres in 3 conditions, these being core, outside, and inside, which can heat up or cool down and wear out individually. Assetto Corsa also incorporates a fairly robust mechanical damage model, with you able to damage components like the engine, suspension, and transmission using your terrible driving.
I money shifted so bad. Oh no, can you see the smoke?
Assetto Corsa, when compared to games such as iRacing, has great compatibility, both platform and gear-wise. You can run it on 8th and 9th gen consoles as well as PC through the use of Steam, though I must add PC is probably the better option due to mods, more on that later. Unfortunately for Mac users, Assetto Corsa doesn't run on Mac. As for what sim racing gear you can use, the world is your oyster. You can run controller, sim wheels, or a keyboard if you hate yourself, and I personally run a Thrustmaster T300 RSGT and TH8A shifter that run without issue, and you can see people running real high-end and low-end equipment just fine. Lastly, setting up equipment in-game's pretty easy with presets for controller and steering wheels. First off, Assetto Corsa has a lot of mods. I mean, a lot of mods. Like an extreme number of mods. They vary in quality, obviously, but they're generally pretty good and allow you to modify nearly anything in the game. These range from tracks and cars to HUDs and graphics mods, and overall there's a great number to choose from. I'm going to go over some of the most popular mods, explaining their function and whatnot. Content Manager. Everybody who plays Assetto, on PC at least, has this mod. I'm not joking when I say it is the single best piece of content for Assetto Corsa. This allows you to A. add other mods to the game extremely simply, B. change Assetto's graphics and controls a lot more than you can in the base game, e.g. allowing you to change time more in different track conditions, and C. provides an alternate launcher for Assetto Corsa, can highly recommend. CSP. Another one that a good majority of players have. It's essentially a slight graphics upgrade that adds some more graphics tuning options, and when done right, it makes the game look pretty good. Soul. Soul is a large weather overhaul with some graphics benefits. It allows you to make some real nice scenes and play around more with the game's time settings. Overall, most people have this mod and some servers require you to have it. Fairly simple install and can definitely recommend it as it adds a lot of soul to the game. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Shutoko Revival project. For something different, this is a big map and car pack, and probably one of the more popular ones on the YouTube side. It's a very detailed map and the traffic systems are fairly solid. Can definitely recommend. An honourable mention is the Bathurst mod. Having visited myself, I can say the map does an excellent job of portraying the circuit, and overall Assetto Corsa's in-game experience is made better through the use of mods, and there are some great ones out there. Any game has flaws. That's a fact. So what are Assetto Corsas? Small amount of Formula, GT, and other class racing in online play, as mentioned previously. The game has a heavy reliance on DLC cars, with the majority of the total car list unlocked through DLC. No new updates since 2018, though this is understandable as Kuno Simulazioni have gone on to focus more on ACC. No livery maker or editor, and a difficult process to set up online servers. Those are really the main ones, so on we go to value. Going off Steam, the $30 you pay gets you the sim itself with 88 cars and a good number of tracks included. Do note that most of the cars also have an upgraded or race version with multiple paint options to choose from. Personally, I'd say it's a fair deal, but the costs of the DLC at $10 for most just make it a poor deal overall. However, on Steam there is also the Ultimate Edition, which comes with all the DLC and the game for 50% of the equivalent price. This is a great pack, and you should definitely go for it if you know you want the game. On Steam sales this goes for $11 as of writing this, and it's a truly excellent choice. Assessing Assetto in my ranking system scores a 5 out of 5 on graphics, a 4.9 out of 5 on gameplay, a 4 out of 5 on compatibility, and a 5 out of 5 on mods and mod compatibility, and a 4.5 out of 5 on value. This leaves us with a final score of 93.6 out of 100, which is in fact good. So, this is a much longer video than usual. I used a new editing software for it, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.